Hi guys, it's Dan here. So this video I wanted to talk about the start of my journey with Kundalini. Um, so I could just go straight into the start of the awakening of energy, but I'm not 100% sure when it did start, to be honest. So I wanted to give a bit of a background on um, my childhood and experiences leading up to that. Um, Yeah, because part of me thinks that maybe I was predisposed to this experience first of all, or maybe it was already happening, although very subtly. So I've had some, I guess, supernatural experiences, maybe you could call it. So as a very young child, I used to see these pitch black figures walking up and down the hallway while I was trying to sleep. So I was already maybe a little bit scared of the dark. So having the hallway light on, um, and it would just be like almost like black silhouette with no facial features, and they'd walk past my bedroom and then kind of like stop and stare at me with no, but with no eyes, and oh, it freaked me out. Um, yeah, it really gave me a lot of fear, and to the point, I couldn't go down into the garden by myself without my mum. I couldn't go upstairs to the toilet by myself without my mum. Really, quite scary. And I don't know at what time that stopped, but it slowly faded away. Um, so that was quite a big thing. So another experience I had um, as a young boy, my mum told me off. I don't know what I did, but she was not happy with me at all and gave me proper telling off, and I felt so upset. And all of a sudden, my whole body filled with love, and I as a child I thought that this was my grandmother mother that had passed away, and it still might be. That was my initial thought, I think, even that young. But then from the experiences now and really the way energy works in the body, it still could have been that, but it was some sort of somatic experience. Yeah, it took all my sadness away, just like yeah, filled with love. That's only happened once, as a kid too. So that was also another interesting experience. And then one time as a teenager, um, so how old was I? I left home when I was 17, and I was extremely depressed and not in a good place. I was living in New Zealand at the time, in a rural town, so had no friends, conflict with my family, and back in that day, is like MSN messaging, people around similar age living in Auckland. So I had 300 New Zealand dollars in my pocket, booked a flight to Auckland, supposed to stay with a girl that I was talking to online, and I'd actually stayed with her and her family a year before, and went to see the Foo Fighters play. She was like, yeah, that's fine, cool. Got on the plane, and then she texted me saying, "Oh, I didn't ask my parents, and they've said no." So I turned up at Auckland Airport, 17 years old with nowhere to go, and luckily I sent out a message to like all the people I was chatting to and managed to find a place to stay temporarily. And that's a whole nother crazy story. Anyway, where am I going? Um, yeah, no, it was in that place, this first place I was staying at, and I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. I wasn't looking for a job. I was just there in this random house. The girl that I'd only spoken to for a couple of weeks, she went off to live with her dad because he had some work for her. So I was living with her mum. I was just sat on the computer doing the MSN thing, and yeah, I was talking to someone, and I told them like, oh, my grandparents bought me a really ugly pair of shoes for my birthday, and I went back to the shoe shop because I had the receipt and swapped them in for a pair of Converse. That was a really specific colour, and I got this much money back, and I couldn't believe that these were cheaper than these ugly shoes my grandparents got me. Um, I just had that conversation, didn't think anything of it, and then the next day I went to the shop, traded in my shoes, got the Converse, went back, went to tell the same person the story that happened, and then I looked on the chat and I was like, I've already told them. Like, what the hell? Look back through the chat and like the exact colour, the money that I got back. It was really bizarre, and I was like, did I know into the future somehow without doing that? I still don't really know what that's all about, but is it again only happened one time? I was speaking to somebody a while ago now about it, and they feel that I manifested that. And manifestation's not something I really know much about. I know in spiritual communities it's talked about a lot. But for me personally, at the moment, I feel it's a bit of a distraction from the true purpose of my spiritual journey at the moment. So it might be something to explore. I think I've read The Secret at one point, and yeah, I'm sure people have their opinions on that, and mine is maybe there's some truth to it, but I don't think it quite works like that somehow. But like I said, I haven't really looked into it. So yeah, I've had these odd kind of experiences, and I wonder. So yeah, I didn't have an easy childhood, and I definitely didn't fit into mainstream education and really struggled with that. Problems with authority. Um, yeah. Oh, problems with authority, and being bullied a lot by children, and but I had a good group of friends. When I was 15, I moved to New Zealand, and in a rural town, and really struggled to fit in. Being English, that at 15, you've all made your own connections with others already. You're going off and being more independent and partying and kind of being a young adult, and it was a tough time to move and kind of integrate, especially into a very close knit, small community, which failed. For 2 years, I had like no friends. I didn't know, I didn't go over anyone's house. I didn't come over to mine. It was a hard time. And talking about Auckland, like moving to Auckland at 17, I think that was at the very peak of poor mental health, and I was extremely depressed, extremely depressed. Reaching the depths of hell, like the pain. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Extremely like suicidal, but telling myself that I couldn't do that to my family, because I know even though it was quite a troubled time with them, that would really, really hurt them, and I didn't want to hurt anyone. So that sort of prevented me from going down that road. But, whew, yeah, it was tough, and I really feel that has a deep spiritual impact. Feeling that sense of loneliness and internal pain and despair, and I really think that had something to do with my awakening, or an impact, or part of the process before Kundalini energy started rising, and yeah, so there was that, and then I moved back to England in my early 20s, and yeah, I'll backtrack a bit. So when I was 15 or 16 going to school, I was walking to school, and I was like, something just clicked in my brain, and it was like, something's not right. Like, and then I just started thinking about like people treat each other like shit, and like why is the world such a bad place? And just started having all these questions. And I think that, also led to that, being 17 and in the depression. And so from that point, I really started analysing society and people and trying to understand why people are the way they are and so bad to each other. And even now, like, feels like maybe a bit of a weird, arrogant thing to say, but like, I'm a really nice person, and maybe to the point it's detrimental. And I think I'm overcoming that a little bit, and being maybe a bit more assertive these days. But yeah, like, people do things and I'm still like shocked, like, why, what, like, yeah, it takes me back a bit. And maybe that's just, I don't feel like I'm naive anymore, but I don't know. Anyway, where am I going? Yeah. So, yeah, I started really just trying to analyze society. And my good friend Jan, who, who is a lot older than me. I'm not sure how old Jan is now, but yeah, I met her when I was 16 gardening for her, and she was a real mentor to me and really helped reflect upon political and philosophical kind of ideas and questioning. Anyway, and then jumping forward again to being like 20, 21, 22. And then I started getting into politics more, and the bigger picture, looking into like capitalism and Marxism, the way money's created, wealth distribution, and that thing of, like, the society in the world is so unequal, and it doesn't have to be. We don't need capitalism, and I still really strongly believe that, but we can't. And so, yeah, I really wanted to create some change. I was like, God, if we just all got together and, stood up, people do have the power. We could take it if we really wanted to. And so I try to reach out to people, friends, family, little people over Facebook, putting those posts up, being a bit of a keyboard warrior, and no one was listening, or when they did, they were kind of arguing back, and I got it. And then the second lot of depression really hit in, feeling unable to create any positive change, and like, what's wrong with people? Like, to me, it felt so obvious, and yeah, and I think that was really leading up to these states of depression and states of like really questioning the world around me, on a level of looking at the person, but also then the level of looking at society. And then it wasn't long after that, trying to overcome my depression through mindfulness-based practice, that my awakening started, with Kundalini. So I do wonder whether it's linked, and I don't know what you think, if you've had similar experiences, and whether your Kundalini or spiritual awakening, kind of happened there and then, and you didn't know anything about it, or didn't have any other experiences to go on, or whether maybe you feel like it was there the whole time but just not expressed in that way. So yeah, let me know. It'd be really good to like hear your experiences. But yeah, I think it's important to kind of factor that in, into my journey. So I hope that I explained that in a way, yeah, that came across all right. Okay, brilliant. Thanks.